Hi guys, this is Natalie from Nyx Crafts. This is just a quick tutorial to show you how to make steampunk paper using Stampin Up products. A few things I will apologise for straight away. The window is open, it is a hot day, there is traffic going by, and I am recording on my mobile. But I will be putting it on a stand so it won't be wibbly wobbly. But I just want to show you a few things before I put you onto this stand. Now you will have known, well some of you will know, that I made a journal for my dad and it was steampunk but it didn't have much Stampin' Up products on there. But this time I'm going to be just showing you how to do steampunk Stampin' Up. Okay, so this is the thing that I had problems with. Every page I had to try and think of a new way to make it steampunk, and this is the bit that takes me the most time. Because I look for papers and I flick through them, but instead I should just make my own. Right, so this is where you guys are going. Hopefully, ignore the mess on this side of the room. But I'll just show you how to quickly make Stampin' Up paper. Now, this is just a piece of Whisper White. I've only made it small just so that I can show you the techniques that we've got. And you will have noticed I've got a table. I'm not on the floor anymore. Yes, I'm still technically on the floor. But anyway, this is my millionth take, so I've already made some. But I'm going to show you how to make this sort of paper. Now, as you can tell, this is like the grungy, steampunky style that I absolutely love. But I've also done a vintage one to show you, which I know a lot of people like this vintage slash, I think they call it shabby chic. But anyway, just a few scraps of paper just to show you what to do. Now, cut the paper obviously on your journal or whatever it is you want to do and just corner the edges. I find this a little bit easier. It just looks a bit smarter. Now pick some inks that you want to use. Well, I'll do the steampunk one first. Obviously that's my favourite. And I've got pumpkin pie. All you need to do is get your paper and just splash it into the ink really. And just so it gets a good covering of ink. I mean, you could press it down. You probably will get ink on you. I already have several times already. Just give it a good press. Get all the white bits covered in. Now, obviously, I think you can go over this a few times, but I don't want it that dark. It does dry quite a nice lighter colour, but it is very rich. Now, I've obviously put this in the ink a bit too many times because it's trying to come through the other side, and I've got it on my finger. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this aside to dry. And this one, the next one, I'm just gonna ink up the next piece. I'm not going to do the corners on... Oh, no, I'll do the corners on this. So just chop the corners. This is going to be the shabby chic one. And then just get your... This is one I use, Blushing Bride. This is the pink I seem to see everywhere for the shabby chic. Yet again, plop it in. Let's get a good rub. Just drag it across. You'll probably get your thumb in it. I have, every time. It's always the bit that you need to pull that you don't get fully covered. I wouldn't worry about the edges too much, because if you want to brown those off, you can. Now, on my previous one, it did leave a bubbly effect. Now, to be honest, it looks really nice, but I'll show you that in a second. Let's leave that to dry. Now, the orange is now actually pretty much dry. There's two things you can do. You can either brown the edges first, or you can ink on it. Now, I like to stamp on it because then I know where my edging is going to go. I'm going to be using baked brown sugar for this, as you will always notice. My sponge is brown because I use brown so much. Now, get your stamp. This is going to be Gorgeous Grunge, which I know a lot of people love. Just stamp that up. And just pick a corner. Now, with Gorgeous Grunge, if you want a steampunky effect, less is more. Just do the corner. See, that looks like an oil blob. Give that a few seconds. Now, you can use the daubers, but I use the sponge bit just because I'll show you an effect in a second that I really like. Now, this is still a bit damp, so I'd probably advise you to do this when it's a little bit drier. As you all know... Oh, it is wet. Just sponge down the edges as much as you want. Obviously, you can use a darker brown if you want, but I find a really dark brown just, I don't know, it kills the effect. It's a bit too much, but I quite like this brown. There we go. And just rub the edges so it looks like that. Hope you guys can see that quite clearly. Just trying to focus. There we go. Okay. Oh, I've probably made it worse. Anyway, now there's an effect that I'd advise you. If you use a see the little bubbles on the end? Like, well, it's like an aero bubble, if that makes sense. This is to give it a bit more of like an oily effect. If you just dab a little bit further down and keep going round, I just usually do the bottoms, I don't do the sides so much. It gives it a more dirty effect, if that's what you're going for. And I have noticed, which I think is really cool, the more ink you put onto this paper, the Whisper White, it kind of goes like crackly, which is actually a really like leathery effect, which I think is brilliant. But anyway, I don't know if you guys can see that that's a little bit darker. And it looks really grungy. Now that's the effect that I love. But also, you can do this with any colour you want. So you could do like a leathery version. But I quite like this. I don't want to put too much stamp on, because if I say did that as a page, I'd want to be able to write or journal or do whatever. Now, the Shabby Cheap one's dried. See how I was on about these bubbles? It looks like kind of like a pattern, which I quite like that. Now, I'm going to just go with Gorgeous Grunge again. I'm going to go with the brown again. I found this works quite nicely. Pick where you want to go. Go in the same place. Let it splodge. Dry it off a second. Do the same. A lot of you, a lot of people, they just run it across the side with the sponge and it leaves this horrible line. Like I say, just keep re-adding and flicking. It's a bit better than just dragging it across, because it just doesn't look very nice. But like I say, do whatever you like. Now, when this dries, it won't be so dark. Can you see? Oh, it actually probably looks quite dark there, but it does go quite light after a while. But you can use the lighter colour browns, but I quite like that. You can trim this off with lace, ribbon, or whichever that you like. But I just thought I'd give you an example of all the pieces of different type of steampunk that you can do. But I hope you guys can see that quite well. But anything that you want to make steampunk, just do the brown. It really is brown, oranges, blacks. But like I say, whatever you want to use, you can do. But like I say, if you guys have any questions or you want to ask me anything, I'm on Facebook under Nyx Crafts. If you have any problems, like I say, give me a shout. Thank you.